From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Thanks for joining us this morning. It is great to see you on a Monday. It is December 8th. Let's open up the windows and get this day started.
Alberto was there to help, and he was failed.
An emotional vigil for a social worker killed on the job at San Francisco General Hospital. How loved ones are keeping his memory alive and what the hospital is doing to improve safety measures.
Quality of my teaching is diminished because I don't get that extra support.
Teachers in the West Contra Costa Unified School District are heading back to the bargaining table after no deal was reached over the weekend. We're live from John F. Kennedy High School with the latest as the strike continues over staffing issues and pay.
What are you going to cut? I mean, sometimes I know teachers who buy their own paper. It's just crazy.
Plus, the clock is ticking for the Oakland Unified School District, tasked with making tough decisions to balance a multi-million-dollar budget shortfall. We take a look at the district's plan to save millions and avoid state receivership.
All of my game just came rushing back in 5 minutes, and it's just overwhelming.
And former San Francisco Giant Jeff Kent is heading to Cooperstown. The slugger second baseman voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. We take a look back at his iconic career.
Well, good morning. Happy Monday. Here we go. As we head into another beautiful week in December here in the Bay, we are off to a chilly start all throughout the Bay Area. If you're about to head out that door within the next 5 to 10 minutes, this is what we're gearing up for. 40s in the forecast right now, anywhere from Antioch all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. We have 40s all the way off into the San Francisco region, all along the peninsula and off into the East Bay too. Let's take a look at our daytime highs though, because as we head outside today and tomorrow, we're gearing up for 40s and 50s in some of these communities off into the East Bay. Chilly conditions for us this morning. Let's head all the way up into the North Bay. Our daytime highs this afternoon also holding on tight to some low 50s. That delta is filled with fog right now, and we're going to continue to see that Tule fog stay a little stubborn as we head into the next couple hours before it starts to clear up nicely into this afternoon. It's that same Tule fog that fills the Sacramento Bay or the Sacramento Valley that pushes its way into the Bay. I'll have more on that coming up in just a bit, but for now, back to you.
All right, we've made it to another Monday. Thank you for that, Jess. This morning, we are now watching for new developments in the West Contra Costa teachers strike, which is just beginning its 5th day. Talks have stalled, and the teachers say the district won't return to the table until tomorrow. The union is planning for another rally set for today at 11 o'clock in the morning. Veronica Macias joins us live now from John F. Kennedy High School in Richmond to tell us more about the current situation. Veronica, good morning.
Max, good morning. Teachers feeling a little disappointed after negotiations, like you said, failed over the weekend. They are back on the picket lines today on this Monday, and we know that rally is going to be held at 11 a.m. here at the high school after those failed negotiations over the weekend. But we believe some progress was made here. Now, we know that these teachers say that this isn't just all about money, but right now, that's what's on the line for them. They have been asking for a 5% increase this year, followed by another next year. Meanwhile, the district has offered a 3% increase. Teachers say it's about the ripple effects and not necessarily their salaries. They say they have been having trouble with staffing issues and retention of teachers. When you have better pay, that's what you receive, and they're fighting for their students. We know that over the weekend, the district has also responded saying that reduced enrollment has created a $17 million budget deficit, and the union has been proposing a plan of cutting costs and say they can meet their demands. Meanwhile, take a look. Here's what the district has responded. The district's fiscal team, with the assistance of statewide financial or fiscal experts, that is, are thoroughly yet promptly evaluating the counter proposal. The district has invited UTR to continue negotiations on Tuesday, December 9th. Now, teachers are holding on to hope here that their goals are met. Take a listen.
I feel insulted. I feel that my families and my students are being forgotten. They're not even being considered, and that hurts me tremendously.
But again, some progress was made over the weekend after they came to the bargaining table. It seems like the Teamsters have now reached an agreement. Those are the clerical and janitorial staff members. However, we are expecting that rally today at 11. We'll be here bringing you the latest development with the union and their strike as teachers remain on the picket lines, Max.
All right, thank you for that update this morning, Veronica. We'll check in a little bit with you. The Oakland Unified School District also has to make some hard decisions this week as they face another massive budget shortfall. District leadership, they need to cut $100 million from the budget for the upcoming school year. As our Dahlin reports, if they cannot close that gap, OUSD will face the possibility of entering state receivership again.
Some school board directors say school closures and mergers are off limits, but everything else is up for discussion. Right now, Oakland Unified needs to cut 20% of its operating budget. Oakland parent Sarah Salvage says it's a lot easier to manage 25 student volunteers as they beautify an Edna Brewer Middle School garden than to balance the district's budget.
What are you going to cut? I mean, sometimes I know teachers who buy their own paper. Like, it's just crazy, right? I mean, it seems like I don't have an alternative. But just returning to the metaphor I used before, there's just not a lot of fat to trim at the school sites.
Her son attends Edna Brewer. Many parents like her volunteer at the school to fill the gaps. She believes any further cuts would devastate the student learning.
I'm pretty concerned. I know there's a lot of schools that are really struggling.
But district officials have to cut $100 million for the next school year. Otherwise, the state and county could once again take over the district. The district just came out of state receivership in July.
To lose local control, I think, again, for our staff, for our labor partners, for everyone, to lose local control is disastrous.
The board initially tried to make cuts only to the central office, but that wouldn't be enough. Now everything is on the table, from cutting school programs to laying off educators.
It's a daunting task. It's going to be a painful outcome. But I do feel this puts us on the road to streamlining and to spending what we have.
Any program that doesn't have its own dedicated funding is really under threat of being cut. And the last part is, since most of our budget, 80% of our budget is spent on staffing, by definition, this is going to involve reducing our staffing levels across the board in every position.
It's a tough sell to students and parents when many schools are already operating at the bare minimum. But Sarah agrees going back into state receivership is not an option.
State receivership, it sounds terrible. Like, it didn't really work before either. I mean, we did it. They did it for so long, but like, it doesn't seem like it helped. It did not fix the problem.
The school board is expected to make a decision at its December 10th Wednesday meeting. That's because the district must present a balanced budget to county officials by December 15th.
The San Francisco General Hospital community came together last night to mourn the loss of one of their own. 51-year-old Alberto Rangel was the social worker who died after a patient attacked him in the hospital's HIV care unit on Thursday. Investigators say the suspect stabbed Rangel multiple times in the neck and shoulders with a 5-inch kitchen knife. Authorities arrested 34-year-old Wilfredo Tortolero Arriechi at the scene. The ward does not have a metal detector. Union leaders are now calling for a security review. Workers struggling with Rangel's loss are pressing for change as well.
Alberto was there to help, and he was failed. He was just such a passionate, wonderful person, and had so much more life to live.
What I know is that social workers have been raising the alarm about safety issues for years, to have been met with pretty much radio silence. And you know what I know is that our colleague and our friend and our loved one deserves more than our grief. They deserve change.
The Department of Public Health said in a statement they will be adding more security, limiting access, and installing a weapons detection system. Some grieving coworkers still worry it won't be enough. They say they raised concerns about the suspect before filing reports, and nothing happened. Moving around the Bay for headlines in your community now. Dixon police say they shot and injured a person after a traffic stop on Sunday night. Officers responded to the report of a car driving with no lights on. Police say when they made contact with the driver on North 1st Street, that driver sped away. Police say the shooting happened after that driver came to a stop on Pedrick Road near the 76 gas station. But the department did not release any information about what caused officers to shoot the suspect. That person was taken to the hospital. No officers were hurt. An investigation is ongoing. One man is dead and 3 others are hurt after a shooting in San Jose. Officers got a call about shots fired on Lincoln Avenue early Sunday morning. When they arrived, they found no victims there. But a short time later, 4 men who'd been shot showed up at local hospitals. One of those men later died. No word yet on a suspect or a motive. This morning in Santa Clara County, Palo Alto could start booting RV dwellers off of city streets after a crucial vote. The city council plans to vote tonight on emergency ordinances to ban detached trailers and so-called van lording. That's when people rent out RVs on public streets. The ban would take effect immediately with $500 fines for violators. Police could start enforcing this right away, though critics say the city has not provided enough housing options for those living in vehicles. A new federal investigation is targeting Berkeley schools with Congress digging into allegations of anti-Semitism on campuses. A House committee has launched a nationwide investigation beginning with Berkeley Unified, Fairfax County, and Philadelphia schools. Lawmakers demand records on incidents, class materials, and events tied to Israel or Judaism by today. Berkeley's superintendent says they've addressed past issues and will cooperate, while denying that anti-Semitism is widespread in the district. The time is 6:11. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill push for the release of a video of a controversial strike on a suspected boat carrying drugs by the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Defends the decision for that second strike that killed 2 people. And former San Francisco Giant Jeff Kent is heading to the Baseball Hall of Fame. We take a look back at the second baseman's achievements still ahead. We are watching live videos from our many monitors that bring us headlines from across the globe. The Trump administration is facing new pressure to release a video showing a second strike that killed 2 survivors clinging to an alleged drug trafficking boat in the Caribbean. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is resisting making the video public, saying a review is already underway. Lawmakers from both parties are seeking more information about Hegseth's role in the follow-up strike, which some critics say could constitute a war crime. Over the weekend, Hegseth defended the administration's efforts to go after so-called narco-terrorists and said the follow-up strike on September 2nd was justified. The Senate is expected to vote as soon as this week on whether or not to extend expiring subsidies on Affordable Care Act programs. The vote is a part of last month's deal to end the government shutdown. If Congress doesn't act, millions of Americans will face a choice between much higher premiums or simply going without health care coverage. This morning, a major showdown at the Supreme Court could change how much control presidents have over independent agencies. President Trump fired FTC Commissioner Rebecca Slaughter, despite a lawsuit saying he can't do that without cause. Now, the justices will decide if those job protections violate the Constitution. If they side with Trump, it could shake up more than 25 agencies, stripping protections and boosting presidential power. President Trump says he will have a say whether the Netflix and Warner Brothers deal will go through or not. Netflix agreed to buy Warner Brothers Discovery's TV and film studios and its streaming division for $72 billion. The deal would hand control of one of Hollywood's most prized assets to the streaming pioneer. Trump did not say whether he favored approval for the deal or not, but he did tell reporters on Sunday that the market share of a combined entity that big could raise concerns. President Trump also served as the host of the Kennedy Center Honors on Sunday. He became the first president to host the event, which pays tribute to legendary artists. This year's honorees include film star Sylvester Stallone, disco pioneer Gloria Gaynor, and members of the rock band Kiss. While the awards show was recorded on Sunday, it will not air until December 23rd. The show will air right here on KPIX. Let's take you live outside on this Monday morning here in the Bay Area with a beautiful shot above the clouds from our camera on Black Mountain. Just below is the Santa Clara Valley. And Jess, I would guess by that photo, it's a little bit chilly in Santa Clara this morning.
Very chilly as we wake up this morning, not just in the Santa Clara Valley, but especially off into the East Bay. And the East Bay is not going to warm up too much more as we head into this afternoon. So let's start off with that forecast. Pulling up the map below me and showing you current conditions. Off into the Santa Clara Valley we go. All right, it looks like we just froze, but we're holding on tight to 40s and 50s. There we go, all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley this morning. 40s widespread off into the East Bay. Similar trend all the way up into the North Bay, too. Here's what it's going to look like as we head into this afternoon. 40s and 50s for our daytime highs is what I meant to say. From Antioch down into places like Livermore, it's a chilly day for us today. And that delta, that fog, has just been pulling in from the Sacramento Valley, keeping us very cool as we wake up and head into the morning hours. And visibility pretty low at the surface level, too. Here's our daytime highs down into the Santa Clara Valley, 60s into Morgan Hill, 60s into Los Gatos, along our coastal communities too. This is the time of year where we see a reverse. All the way off into the East Bay we go. We see daytime highs sitting in the 40s, but our friends along the coast are actually dealing with 60s and sunnier skies into the afternoon hours. So speaking of that sunshine, we're going to notice it a lot more off into our peninsula and coastal communities into this afternoon, while that delta is still filled with a tule fog pushing in from the Sacramento Valley. You see that early in the morning hours in Solano County. It starts to pull back as we head into the afternoon. Just around 5 o'clock this afternoon, we're talking about sunny skies widespread throughout the bay, with the exception of some of those North Bay coastal communities. Then those clouds start filling in to the bay once again into those early morning hours. This is the trend for us each day as we head into this week. Now, it stays dry for us throughout most this week, but by early next week, there's a chance of showers that returns, and that's what we're keeping a close eye on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. A better chance of showers around the corner, which ends this dry spell that we've had here in the bay for the past couple weeks. Of course, that was convenient for that holiday travel, but now as we head into this weekend, those clouds start rolling in, temperatures stay cool, and the best chance of showers we can see will be early next Monday or Tuesday. For now, we're just dealing with partly cloudy skies each day. Beautiful weather to get out there and get some fresh air. I'll have more on that coming up in a bit. Back to you.
I love the look of that for this time of the year. Thank you, Jess. Let's head straight to our traffic maps on a Monday morning. In Pinole, a disabled vehicle is blocking the left lane on westbound 80. This is just east of Richmond Parkway. Let's head south now to Hayward. There is a crash to report on northbound 880 after Hesperian Boulevard. Traffic is pretty backed up in that area, so do expect some slow and go conditions if you're heading out in the East Bay this morning. In Concord, there is a crash on Highway 4 at the westbound connector ramp. At this point, not too much of a backup at the moment, but we know how those things can change pretty quickly. Let's give you a live look now at the Bay Bridge. It is jam-packed at the Maze, and we are just getting started. The usual slow and go as the metering lights are on, so give yourself a little bit of time if you're heading into the city on this busy Monday morning. That's a look at your morning commute. In Oakland, shoppers rallied to support locally Black-owned businesses at the Black Sunday holiday market this weekend. Organizers say this event is really a way for the community to lift up Black entrepreneurs. Listen.
We're making sure that our businesses can thrive and survive, so we're going to continue to create these opportunities to make impact, to grow our revenue, and to make sure that Oakland will be the hub for Black-owned businesses.
This was the 8th year of the Oakland Black Sundays holiday market event. In San Francisco, community organizers and local business owners in the Mission gave away toys to children from low-income families this weekend as a part of their 5th annual holiday give back.
People here who are receiving a toy are very happy. The children put smiles on their faces. They get to take pictures with Santa, and they're very excited to be here.
They gave away over 900 toys. Organizers say they saw an 80% increase in donations when compared to last year. The time is 6:21 on this Monday morning. The 49ers are getting some much-needed rest in their bye week, giving players and coaches a little bit of extra time to recover. They're getting ready for their next game in our Red and Gold report when we come back. Welcome back. The 49ers moved up to 6th in the NFC playoff race despite not playing this weekend. Now they're ready for a sprint to the finish line. Vern Glenn and Lorenzo Neal have more in this morning's Red and Gold report.
This is the Audi Red and Gold report.
The 49ers winners of 3 straight, and you know that they are enjoying their bye week. George Kittle had a message for his teammates as they get ready for the 4-game stretch run.
Get away, do whatever you have to do, but just remember when we come back, we have 4 incredibly difficult games that are going to hopefully set us up to do something fun, after the last game.
All right, so here it is, Lo. They got the Titans coming off the bye. Then they go to the Colts on Monday Night Football. Week 17, they host the Bears.
The Bears.
And then we conclude with Week 18 against Seattle. If I told you, all right, 3-1, would you take it?
I'll take it. Absolutely, I'll take it. If you told me 3-1, I'd take it. It looks more like a 2-2, but 3-1, that's even better. But right now, I would say, 2-2. Chicago's probably going to be playing for something. Seattle looks like they're playing for something. So those are two games that are going to be tough. But those next two games, it's going to be critical, especially because the Colts lost their quarterback. And you know Tennessee Titans right now, they're not getting it done.
With the Red and Gold Report, I'm Vern Glenn.
Former San Francisco Giant Jeff Kent is headed to the National Baseball Hall of Fame. The five-time All-Star second baseman will be part of the Cooperstown class of 2026 next July. The Cal alum played for 6 teams across his 17-year career, including 6 seasons with the Giants from 1997 to 2002. It was an emotional moment for Kent when he got the news at his home in Texas on Sunday night. Watch.
When I had hugged my wife after the phone call had come in, she was the only one that had known at that moment. And I told her all of my game. She came rushing back in 5 minutes, and it's just overwhelming.
Kent named on 14 of 16 ballots by the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee. That was 2 more than needed for the call. His teammate Barry Bonds, however, did not receive enough votes to get inducted. 626, a group in San Francisco is launching a campaign that would tax large corporations to try and help close the city's budget deficit. How it could help prevent major service cuts for everyday San Franciscans. And the Trump administration renewing its plan to open California's coast to offshore drilling. While local environmental groups are pushing back and calling this a serious threat. Still ahead.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Welcome back. Here's a live look from the top of Mount Diablo on this Monday morning. That fog really sticking around. Jess, I've got some friends in the East Bay who told me they feel like they haven't seen the sun in 2 weeks because of all of this fog.
I know, it's been so thick for our friends over, just near the Delta especially, because what's happening is that Sacramento Valley, 400 miles wide, just fills with that Tule fog. We're actually going to start with that this morning. Let's zoom all the way into this map. I want to show you a couple of things. You can see that fog just off into the distance near Sacramento, stretched all the way down into places like Stockton, Fresno, and everywhere in between. But notice where it pulls all the way into the Delta and those low-lying areas close to the water. It'll be another stubborn day for us where we do see more of that Tule fog kind of lingering around until around 11, 12 o'clock. And then once we head into this afternoon, that's when it starts to clear up. We'll see sunnier skies all throughout the Bay Area. But let's head over to the map real fast. I want to show you a couple things going on for us. It's over into the Delta where we're actually sitting in the low 40s this morning, but that's the case everywhere throughout most of the Bay. And as we head into this afternoon, interestingly enough, we continue to see 40s into places like Antioch, while we warm all the way up into the 60s along the coast near Half Moon Bay. I'll have more on this coming up in just a bit, but for now, back to you.
All right, thank you for that, Jess. This morning, strike talks in West Contra Costa County have stalled once again. Teachers say they are still waiting for the district to come back to the bargaining table. Let's give you a live look now at John F. Kennedy High in Richmond. Negotiators for the United Teachers of Richmond and the district met there through the weekend, exchanging proposals, but still no deal in sight. The district says it is reviewing the union's counter with state fiscal experts and plans to resume those talks tomorrow. For now, the strike continues. Day 5 now. UTR is holding an 11 a.m. rally today. The state superintendent is closely monitoring the situation, urging both sides to reach a resolution. More than a week after a mass shooting that killed 4 people and injured 13 others, the city of Stockton held a tree lighting ceremony as a way to bring the community together. As people continue to grieve, Stockton's mayor says more needs to be done to show that violence is never acceptable.
We don't want to be too soft on crime. We don't want to maybe be too hard on crime, but we have to find a medium because things like this can't happen without the severest of consequences.
The mayor also called on the state to provide more funding to help Stockton fight crime. A 21-year-old man is in custody for a deadly shooting in Fairfield. Officers responded to Cambridge Drive Sunday afternoon, where they found a 40-year-old man who'd been shot. Police say the suspected gunman was arrested nearby. Investigators say the men did know each other but have not released their names as of this morning. After a trash strike for weeks on end over the summer, San Pablo residents will soon get a one-time credit to account for those missed trash collections. The 10-day strike temporarily stopped regular trash pickups back in July. That resulted in garbage just piling up in many neighborhoods. You may remember it well. The credit will show up on residents' December trash bills. In Foster City, some major repairs begin today on the city's water main. While the Public Works Department doesn't anticipate any interruptions, it still wants people who live there to, quote, stay tuned for any potential impacts. Officials say this work will provide more of a long-term fix to a break in the city's main water supply that was discovered last year. The city encourages residents to check its social media channels and the city's website for any changes. San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie is warning that the city's budget deficit could soon balloon to $1 billion due to cuts from the Trump administration. But a coalition of labor unions say their new overpaid CEOs bill could help close that gap. Dalin explains.
There are a lot of corporations doing business in San Francisco. Supporters of the measure say it's only fair that those big companies pay more, but opponents worry it could push those businesses out of the city. Organizers call it the Overpaid CEO Act, aimed at taking from the ultra-rich to help the poor. Supporters of the proposal say it would benefit people like Lester Bruins and Julie Fisher.
There's a lot of fear and worry over what might happen if this doesn't pass, if we do have to face reduced income.
Julie is an in-home support services caregiver to her longtime partner Lester, who suffered a brain aneurysm in 2017. Medicaid pays for those services, but some worry the federal government could cut funding, pushing more of that financial burden to the local level. The problem, San Francisco is already projected to face an $800 million budget deficit in the next fiscal year.
Uncertainty of not knowing how bad it might get is just, it's cast a shadow over the day.
Are you registered to vote San Francisco?
Many community groups, unions, and elected leaders say the only way to protect vital city services is to bring in more tax revenue. That's why volunteers are out collecting signatures to qualify the Overpaid CEO Act for the June primary.
This is a very, very small percentage, actually as a percentage much smaller that we're asking them than what we are asking regular San Franciscans, who are going to be maybe paying a little more in a parcel tax or sales tax.
State Assembly member Matt Haney says the tax would apply only to corporations where top executives earn more than 100 times the median workers' pay. It would target companies with over 1,000 employees and more than $1 billion in revenue. Organizers estimate the tax would generate more than $200 million a year for San Francisco's general fund.
It's not on companies that are headquartered here. It's not targeted at San Francisco-based company. These are large companies that do business here and will continue to do business here. Maybe a company like Amazon that's delivering you packages.
Even though it would affect only the largest corporations, opponents worry they might avoid San Francisco, costing the city future jobs.
This bill, it's about fairness. It's not about just, scaring our corporation away.
Being able to put this measure on the ballot would actually help the community, but also public services that are under attack.
Lester and Julie agree, saying the tax would provide a lifeline for some of San Francisco's most vulnerable residents.
I survived a brain aneurysm, and I'm doing all I can to keep moving forward the way things are. And when you take that away, it scares me.
If it passes, and all of us will be, feeling a little bit relieved. It's not going to solve everything, but it will get us over the current financial hump.
Organizers need about 10,500 signatures to qualify the measure for the June primary. They'll be out collecting voter signatures over the next 2 months and hope to turn them in by the end of January.
California's latest political battleground is on the ocean floor as the state clashes with the Trump administration over plans to open the coast to offshore drilling. California has had strict drilling restrictions since 1969. That was because of a well off the Santa Barbara coast blowing out, spilling millions of gallons of oil into the ocean. But during Thanksgiving week, the Department of the Interior announced plans to offer oil leases for the entire coast starting in 2027. Lawmakers and environmentalists warn these plans are doomed to repeat history.
The communities that this plan
puts in the crosshairs of oil and gas development have been fighting for generations to protect their coastlines, because we know how this story ends, right? Where you drill, you spill.
I worked on this issue here in, California and other states for 50 years, and I've never seen a threat this serious or this imminent.
A public hearing on the issue will be held in Sausalito on January 16th. We've reached out to the Department of Interior for comment on Sunday, but did not get a response. It's not just California, by the way, that is pushing back against this plan. Florida Republicans also want the Trump administration to abandon ideas of offshore drilling on their coastline. In a letter sent 4 days ago, Florida Senator Rick Scott wrote, quote, "In 2020, you made the right decision to extend the moratorium on oil and gas leasing off Florida's Gulf and East coasts. The risks posed by new offshore drilling far outweigh any short-term gains." The time is 6:38 on this Monday morning. The fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas will soon enter its second phase. We'll have more on what both sides are saying about the next steps when we come back. And the Golden Globes announcing the nominees for next year's award show. We take a look at some of the contenders as award season heats up. Welcome back. We are watching live video from our many monitors that bring us headlines from across the globe. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel and Hamas could soon begin phase 2 of the ceasefire, with Hamas handing over the final hostages' remains. The next phase includes disarming Hamas, withdrawing Israeli troops, and setting up a temporary Palestinian government that's under global supervision. The Education Department temporarily bringing back hundreds of federal workers it laid off last March. About 250 workers in the agency's Office for Civil Rights received an email on Friday ordering them to return to work on December 15th so they could help clear thousands of discrimination complaints. Those workers have been on leave for months, locked in a legal battle, fighting the government's efforts to cut their jobs. Major changes are coming to Yosemite, Muir Woods, and other national parks. Beginning next year, Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Juneteenth will no longer be included on the free admission days list, but 2 other days will be added in their place. September 17th, which is Constitution Day, and June 14th, which is both Flag Day and President Trump's birthday. One other big change, free admission days will only apply to U.S. citizens and residents. Food banks across the Bay Area are working around the clock to help brighten the holidays for families in need. And during these times, local organizations are helping so many people in our community, whether that's with donations big or small, or through a lot of volunteer hours. I was at Second Harvest of Silicon Valley for a moment that'll remind us all that anyone can make a difference. So here in Silicon Valley, Second Harvest serves 500,000 people a month, and half of the people they serve are seniors and children. So joining me now is Quincy, Samara, Alicia, and Becky from Village School in Campbell. You guys are giving almost 13,000 meals. What went into this?
I mean, there was a need that needed to be met in our community, and we wanted to help our neighbors, and we want to have conscious and conscientious students and children that grow up to be active members of their schools, committees, businesses, and this was a good starting ground for us.
Absolutely. One of those students here is Quincy. And Quincy, your sign says, "It takes a village." What did you learn from this experience?
I learned that it takes everyone in our community just to help our community.
I love that, and that's a really good lesson to learn and share with all of your friends. And I know everybody at Second Harvest is really grateful for all the work you and your friends did. So let's bring in Shobana Gubi here from Second Harvest of Silicon Valley. When you see children learning to make a difference like this, how important is that in our community?
It's really heartwarming, and thank you, Quincy. You inspire all of us to give back and to support our neighbors who need some help. Thank you.
And if you want to support local food banks, you can scan the QR code on your screen right now or head to kpix.com/give. Once there, you'll be able to donate food, funds, or time to food banks across the Bay Area. All righty, it is now time for a look at what's coming up later this morning on CBS Mornings. Nate Burleson joins us live now from New York. Good morning, Nate. Good to see you.
Hey, Max, good morning. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Here's what's coming up on CBS Mornings. It's Monday, like you said, and that means Beg Knows America. David has the story of a man whose generosity toward a friend saved his own life. Plus, Emmy-winning host of The Daily Show, Jordan Klepper, will be here. He will tell us about his new special on President Trump's wish for a Nobel Peace Prize. And we'll exclusively announce some of the top nominees for this year's Golden Globe Awards and get immediate reaction from Fandango's Eric Davis. We'll also have everything you need to know, plus more on the show. So we'll see you at 7.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you for that, Nate. Let's give you a live look now outside on this Monday morning here in the Bay Area. This is a view from our camera atop the Mark Hopkins Hotel. This is looking off north, and you can maybe barely make out the span of the Golden Gate Bridge off in the distance there. But a little bit of a, I dare to say, wet start to the day today, Jess?
Cool and misty, especially along the peninsula as we head out there. And it's interesting, too, because the delta over into the East Bay is just filled with fog also, which is not a surprise to us. That Thule fog has been pulling its way in from the Sacramento Valley for quite some time. That's the reason why we're waking up to some chilly temperatures, too. 40s widespread from the South Bay off into the East Bay. Watch what happens over in Antioch as I pull up our daytime highs. 41 degrees to 49. We're not seeing too much of a difference there today. That microclimate is staying nice and chilly, and it's such a difference compared to our coastal communities. Let's head over into places like Half Moon Bay, sitting in the 60s as we head into this afternoon with sunnier skies on tap for us right around the corner, while it's going to stay a little bit more stubborn to see the sunshine, at least over into our microclimates into the East Bay throughout this afternoon. So let's take a quick look at that because I want to pull up the map and just kind of paint this picture a little bit. Throughout the afternoon hours today, notice that Sacramento Thule fog. Once again, another day, it's stubborn and it stays still until around the afternoon hours, around 2, 3, 4 o'clock. That's when it pulls away from the delta. That's when we're going to get some sunshine. But at that point, daytime highs, they're only really hitting the upper 40s in these communities. So staying nice and cool and cloudy for us into the early morning hours, lingering into the afternoon. Now, it's a dry week for us this week here in the Bay, but we will see a return of some showers potentially as we head into next Monday and Tuesday. That's what we're going to keep a close eye on here in the Weather Center. But as you take a look at the next 7 days, it stays nice and mild. Partly cloudy skies, a mix of sunshine in there too, upper 50s and lower 60s along the bay. So it's a very mild setup for us in places like San Francisco, across the Bay Bridge. This is what we're used to during this time of year, but you head over into our inland spots. It's seasonably cool right now all throughout the bay, but especially over into places like the East Bay and the Santa Clara Valley, where we could even see daytime highs tomorrow into the upper 40s throughout most of the Bay Area. Well, most of the East Bay, I should say. Wednesday and Thursday, those clouds roll in and out. It's a very mild setup, and as we head into next week, that's when some more active weather will start rolling in. That happens late Sunday night into early Monday morning as another chance of showers rolls back in, ending this dry spell for many of us here in the Bay. I'll have more on that coming up in a bit, but for now, back to you.
All right, thank you, Jess. Let's take you live outside now for a look at your morning commute. We'll start in the North Bay near Lucas Valley. We have a hot spot because of a crash on southbound 101. This is between the Freitas Parkway exit and the San Pedro Road exit. The second lane from the right is blocked. Travel time's about 35 minutes through that stretch. That crash we were tracking in Hayward on northbound 880 earlier this morning, just after Hesperian Boulevard, has been cleared, but still pretty slow conditions in that area. About 20 minutes or so added to your drive through that stretch. The Altamont Pass, that's a hot spot this morning. Top speeds right now are just about 10 miles an hour. Travel time through that stretch is about 55 minutes. That's a look at your morning commute. Award season is gearing up. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association just announced its nominations for this year's Golden Globe Awards this morning. Dozens of popular shows and films hope to win big. So here's a look at the nominees for Best Performance by an Actress in a Television Drama Series. Kathy Bates from the CBS hit Matlock, Britt Lauer, Severance, Helen Mirren, Mobland, Bella Ramsey, The Last of Us, and Raya Seehorn, Pluribus. And the nominees for Best Motion Picture Drama include Netflix's Frankenstein, Focus Features, Hamnet, Neon's It Was Just an Accident, plus The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value. Oakland filmmaker Ryan Coogler's Sinners as well. You can watch the Golden Globes right here on CBS News Bay Area on January 11th. Hundreds of runners wearing Santa hats stripped down to their underwear for a good cause in San Francisco's Castro district. It was all for the annual Santa Skivvies fundraiser. The event raises money for AIDS research. And if that wasn't enough Santa for you, you're in luck. SantaCon is coming to town this weekend. Thousands of people are expected to make their way into San Francisco on Saturday, wearing their best Santa costumes. It kicks off with a toy drive at Union Square, and from there, the Santas will start heading out to the bars. And we do want to show you some of the new holiday light installations set up across the city by Let's Glow SF. These are the ones located at the Ferry Building, 101 California Street, and the Pacific Exchange Building on Pine Street. There are other installations at the Transamerica Pyramid, Salesforce Tower, the Hobart Building, and some others. They're up every night from 5:30 to 10 p.m. through December 14th. The time is 6:50. With Christmas around the corner, the holiday rush to find the perfect tree is in full gear. How much more you might be paying this season in our Money Watch report. And a group in San Francisco teaching others about the cosmos with a unique twist. We take you to the gathering, blending stargazing with beer. And here's a live look outside before we head to break. A bit of a foggy start. Jess will have your forecast. Stay with us.
Your community, your news, powered by KPIX. CBS News Bay Area. Watch anywhere, anytime. Stay informed and connected. Trusted local news when you want it. CBS News Bay Area. Watch free on any device.
Welcome back. It's now time for your Money Watch report. Let's give you a live look at the big board this morning, starting out slightly in the red, the Dow just a little bit down, but there's a long way to go with this Monday morning. President Trump is set to head to Pennsylvania this week with the economy and affordability taking center stage on the campaign trail. He plans to focus on rising costs at the event tomorrow with a Fed rate cut on the table this week. Even President Trump's own party is split on this, though, especially after he dismissed affordability concerns as a con job by Democrats. A new Politico poll finds 46% of Americans say the cost of living in the United States is the worst they've ever seen. So this season, many are relying on credit cards and buy now, pay later programs. With just 17 days until Christmas, Americans are on track to buy 30 million real Christmas trees this year. Prices averaging between $80 and $100 a tree, according to the Real Christmas Tree Board. Yeah, that's a real thing, by the way. Prices are holding steady, though, when compared to last year. A new study from the American Christmas Tree Association finds 83% of households putting up a tree this year will opt for an artificial one. And because most fake trees come from overseas, prices are up right now, so you will have to expect to pay an extra $10 to $15 if you're going fake. To help with holiday costs, the Trump administration says you can cut down your own tree on federal land for just $1. That deal runs through January.
Oh, no.
Sequels dominated the weekend box office this weekend. The horror sequel Five Nights at Freddy's 2 took the top spot with $63 million in ticket sales. That was the biggest opening ever for the weekend after Thanksgiving and the largest for a PG-13 horror movie this year. The animated Disney sequel Zootopia 2 came in second with $43 million. That was followed by Universal's Wicked for Good with just under $17 million. We'll be talking about deep space might seem a little heavy to some, but one group in San Francisco is trying to make it more accessible with a night out at the bar. Lorene Ayub shares how Astronomy on Tap is bringing the cosmos a little bit closer to Earth.
As the cold pour hits the glass at the Sycamore in San Francisco, Astronomy on Tap kicks off, blending a little stargazing with a laid-back night at the bar.
Astronomy on Tap is all about making astronomy casual, something that people can interact with in their day-to-day lives, which is how it should be, right? Because, we live on a planet, we're in space. It feels abstract, but it should be something concrete.
So concrete that this bar in the Mission has got a packed house. NASA hopes the free, laid-back gatherings will inspire attendees to learn more about the planets and galaxies near and far.
It's all about the cosmic perspective, ultimately, that feeling you get when you look through a telescope and see Saturn's rings for the first time, or if you look up at the night sky with your naked eye and you take this step back from yourself and realize your place in the cosmos.
A deep realization paired with burgers and fries. And it's that very perspective which inspired attendee Rob Summerlin to support the event.
I think space is so incredible, and I know very little about it. So I think an opportunity to learn from people who know what they're talking about and can expand my knowledge of the planet I live on and the universe I live on is super cool. And I like the informal atmosphere.
Bartender Dane Dakota, who helped bring the event to the Sycamore, says he was pleasantly surprised with the turnout.
We didn't know what the response was going to be, and all of a sudden there's 60 people staring at you, and they just sort of want, we inspired them to come down and try our food, try our drinks, and just be around this bar. And a lot of people haven't been here before, so we want them to check out the patio.
The patio overflowing with bar bites and curious minds. Asa hopes these gatherings nudge people to look up and feel the sheer scale of the universe and all of its wonder.
I hope they walk away with a little bit more of an appreciation of the universe that they live in, the beauty of it, the elegance, how little we know, and how those gaps in our knowledge let wonder into our lives.
That sounds like a really fun event. I think I know what I'm doing on Tuesday. The next Astronomy on Tap event is tomorrow, December 9th. It's at Black Hammer Brewing on Bryant Street. That begins at 7 o'clock p.m. and there is a 1-drink minimum. Coming up on Pix Plus 44 Cable 12, teachers who serve some 25,000 students in West Contra Costa County are still on strike this morning. We'll have a live report from one of the affected schools in Richmond. And a documentary premiering tonight on Paramount Plus investigates a TV series about child predators. Did the series push ethical boundaries in its pursuit of justice? We'll talk live with the film's new director. And let's take you live outside for a shot above the clouds here in the Bay Area. Jess Birch will have your forecast when we see you on Pix Plus 44 Cable 12.